Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So I have an update on one of Trump's capital terrorists. You guys know what that means. It's time for a Plants and Politics episode of Where Are They Now?
Matthew Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
So, little Brandon Fellows, he just can't seem to keep himself out of trouble. You're going to remember this guy. He is a New York resident. He's now 27 years old. He was 26 when he was arrested and indicted for entering the Capitol. He also entered Jeff Merkley's office, Senator Jeff Merkley. He had a bizarre fake red ZZ Top kind of beard and mustache, like a fake one, not a real one. And he was in pictures. You could see him with his feet kicked up on Merkley's desk. He was smoking weed. And then he bragged about all of it on social media because, of course, he did, because that's what they do. He also said that he saw fear in the lawmakers because many of them knew that they had guns, that in other words, that the terrorists had guns in their hotel rooms and in their vehicles. He also said that he would surrender to the police when he got caught. And then he said, psych, nope, not doing that. And he appeared to actively try to avoid being arrested. He wrapped his cell phone in foil and a bunch of other stupid shit. Then he famously bragged about how his Bumble dating profile was blowing up after his arrest. And then he said, prison ain't no thing, basically, because, I'm going to have a better life in prison than I have right now. Because if you recall, this is the guy who I believe lives in a converted school bus. So he's already facing up to 23 years in prison. And this was for obstructing an official proceeding, entering a restricted building or grounds. He was hit with 2 counts of disorderly conduct and then 1 count of entering certain rooms in the Capitol, which would be the senator's office. So he's been out on bail until now. The judge just ordered him back to jail because he keeps violating the conditions of his release. Now, since January, since he was arrested, prosecutors have made 3 different attempts to put him back in jail. They've requested 3 different times that the judge throw his ass back in jail. Here's what Mr. Fellows has been up to. According to the prosecutors, even before January 6th, so even before all of this stuff that landed him in jail and might cost him decades of his life in prison, including a felony charge, he had been hit with a restraining order for allegedly harassing an ex-girlfriend. So in that case, apparently a court clerk reached out, tried to contact him, and the number that they had went to the wrong number. They called it and the person said, no, wrong number. Well, they found out that the phone number he put down was actually the number for the wife of the judge who was handling that case, who was overseeing that case. So this guy somehow got a hold of the judge's wife's information. It actually went to her work number, I should say. And he used that in his court documents. Now, I could be reading more into this than there is, but, and it may have just been a joke, but it seems to me like that's an indirect threat. Then it gets worse. The next incident prosecutors cited was that he was supposed to go in for a mental health appointment, something like that. He blew it off. I guess he told his probation officer he didn't feel well, he couldn't make it. So the probation officer asked him, can you work? And he said no. Then he asked the probation officer, have you checked your hormones? So he's a little smart ass who's not so much smart and more of just a plain old ass. And then it gets better. Wait, there's more. So the probation officer, the same one who he asked, have you checked your hormones? The probation officer finds out that a man called his or her mother, because they don't specify in the news reports if this probation officer is a male or a female. Probation officer finds out someone's been calling my mother, and it's a man. And they keep asking, I guess they asked twice in this phone call, they asked the mom, is this where so-and-so lives? Now, the mother lives out of state, and this person said, does this probation officer live there? Is this the correct number for them? So when they checked the caller ID on that phone call that went to the mother, it was the same phone number that Brandon Fellows used to contact his probation officer. Again, seems like a threat. Seems like he's trying to send a message that I can find your loved ones. I can get to them. I know who they are. I know where they are. At least that's my take. Otherwise, why would he bother? Why would he do this? What's the point that he's trying to make by contacting these people or by using their phone numbers? And the prosecutor appears to agree with my take on this, because they told the court that, quote, Fellows has gone past ignoring the court and into the dangerous areas of intimidation and harassment. And then they also explained that basically in the 4 months since he's been released, he's been violating conditions of his bond by disrespecting his supervising officer. He's, going against the court orders. He doesn't report as he's been directed to report. He doesn't call in, and then, this other stuff. But even with these veiled threats, the judge didn't remand him back to jail indefinitely, at least not now. For right now, he's back in jail, but the judge said that he's going to issue his final decision later. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if this is the real Brandon Fellows, but a while ago, I started posting my videos, the videos that I do, the video shorts of the Capitol arrests. I started posting those on TikTok. And I haven't had time to keep up with it, but shortly after I posted the video about Fellows, there were a bunch of comments on the video from someone claiming to be Brandon Fellows. And this person is defending his actions, trying to, defend the way his arrest went down, and that he didn't actually say he would turn himself in or something to that effect. He wasn't trying to hide his phone. A bunch of BS. Anyway, I never responded, but a bunch of other people on TikTok, a bunch of other viewers, got into verbal altercations with him. They started arguing with him and berating him. And I'm reading through all this, and it's just clear. If this truly is Brandon Fellows who's commenting on my video on TikTok, it's obvious he's a white Bart reader, and he's a Glenn Beck, Tucker Carlson, Rush Limbaugh type of brainwashed wannabe, because the person was spouting all kinds of typical white male privileged grievance bullshit, just like they do. These perpetual victims who actually, as white males, rule the world, rule the country, rule the world. And, they claim that people on the left would have been treated better by the FBI after what happened at the Capitol, which we all know is complete nonsense. It was night and day the way Black Lives Matter protesters were treated compared to these people, these terrorists who went there with nooses and weapons and wanted to hang the vice president. So again, I'm not sure if it's really him, but and I just want to point out too how unbelievably stupid some of these people are, like Fellows. who support Trump, who are continuing to support Trump. This is why, I'm sorry, people can talk about economics, and yes, there is absolutely a disparity in this country. People are suffering and not making ends meet, not getting by. But I believe a lot of these people, for them, not all, but many Trump supporters, for many of them, it was about racism. Because this guy lives in a converted school bus, for Christ's sake. After 4 freaking years of Trump as president, I'm sorry, but how exactly did his life improve? I mean, what was he living in before Trump? Was he in a converted 1980s Fiat before Trump? Was he like Chris Farley? He was like, I live in a van down by the river. I mean, what the hell was his life before Trump that it's gotten so much better in a converted bus, a school bus? And he says prosecutors are giving him a gift, sending him to prison. Really? Really? Who wants to tell him that he'll only be allowed to have sex with men in prison? He's not going to get much Bumble action in prison, I can tell him that. Maybe some Bubba action, but not Bumble. When you're in prison, hate to tell you, Brandon Fellows, if it really is you watching, but you get what you get in prison, and it's not the female variety. And what the hell are we teaching women in this country? Who looks at this guy's profile on Bumble and goes, oh, yep, sign me up. Yep, that's what I want in my life. This is like the girl who is looking for a Proud Boy at the Capitol. Seriously? You're actively looking for a male chauvinist? You know what woman wants a male chauvinist? A weak woman. Only weak women want a man to order them around and treat them like they're second-class citizens. All right, guys, if I hear more, I'll let you know. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, subscribe, become a friend or a partner or whatever the hell I'm calling it, supporter, down below in the description box. Click on the link, please. Help me keep the show on the air. Help me make it better for all of you. And thanks so much again. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.